Hello, listeners. It is Allura here, and welcome to the Sacred Gates on YouTube. Today, we are discussing goals. And I don't just mean goals that you write down on a list and then they never come to fruition. Because let's face it, a lot of the goals that we have in life do end up just being on a list or an idea. They just are a concept, but they never come into being. So specifically, we are talking today about what I call timed goals. Timed goals. Timed goals mean that we have something that we want to achieve and we are putting a time limit on when we expect or hope to have that or working towards having that goal achieved. The difference between goals and timed goals is that there is actually a deadline, or you could call it a lifeline to that goal. It helps to bring structure and focus and gives you the drive and motivation towards a goal, because nothing is more demotivating and uninspiring than not progressing yet having a goal. It seems almost like it doesn't make sense, like it's contradictory. And that's because it is. We want to have timed goals because we are working in time. We're not timeless completely. We need to be putting time limits on what it is that we do. Otherwise, we will just keep floating and we will not develop and we won't really get anywhere with what it is that we want to achieve. So putting timed goals, we don't want to go too crazy and have them too many. But I would suggest having timed goals in a few areas of your life. So specifically, this channel is about spiritual development. So you can have timed goals on how, for example, my son is working with certain energies at the moment, vital energy and astral energy and mental energy, and he's learning how to perfect his 3 transformations. Now, he is needing to put a timed goal on that, and it helps to put pressure. And I really noticed the improvement in his focus and thus his productivity with the quality of his energy when I check the quality of his transformations at each stage along the way. They are much better quality since he knows he's got 7 days and we tick off each box as he goes along, as it's like a countdown to when he says, I got this. And it's always going to continue developing and deepening, but that he goes from kind of just moving his hands around and not really focusing, and you feel the vital, you can't really feel it, to it's really changed to now I can really feel a deep vital relaxation in my own body when I put my hand in between his hands where his vital energy ball is, for example. So that is one effect of having a timed goal. It makes things much more tangible, especially when you're working with things, energy, for example, that can feel tangible, yet may have a spectrum of subtle within it. And so having a time goal helps you to get on top of how you learn and how seriously you take your practice. Another example of having timed goals can be when you also include taking notes with your timed goals. So each session you sit down, just say you are wanting to learn how to relax and open all your sacred gateways, just say the joints, the physical joints of your body, and you're doing a very deep relaxation process, sitting up, and you're allowing all your joints to open. So you're going to have a timed goal that by the end of, just say 2 weeks, something like that, it could be anything, that you're going to really be able to disperse all your energy out and balloon it all around you and have quite a lot of equilibrium of energy throughout your joints, and that you feel that more and more. And so along the way, your note taking is going to be a lot more succinct if you have a timed goal for that 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, you're going to naturally increase your inertia, your focus, your dedication, your awareness is actually going to peak because you are working towards an endpoint. You've got a deadline, or a lifeline as I like to call it, but you've got this point that you're working towards. So your awareness in a sense becomes more pointed or more poignant as it works towards that goal. So definitely practice our awareness peaks, because when you just have a goal and there's no time limit for it, what happens to your awareness? It becomes sluggish. Your practice becomes boring. You just kind of zone out. And you also can also fall into that feeling of it just kind of feels meaningless to you. So I highly recommend having timed goals as a way to help peak your practice and raise the bar for yourself as a practitioner. And just say you get to the end of the 2 weeks, for example, and you're not quite there yet, well, that's okay, as long as you've seen progress along the way. And you may then need to give yourself an extra, whatever it might be, but you can always then, because of your mindset, in your timed goal mindset, you get to the end of the 2 weeks and you can see you're not where you did plan to be, but you've got the mindset to track, well, where am I? How far off am I from this? What do I need to do? What do I need to study and learn, or how much more practice? And you can also map and see how much commitment and focus you're putting into your practice. And generally, when you have a time goal, like I'm saying, you're more focused, you're more committed. There's a kind of almost like, not that you're drinking caffeine, but there's just like a hit of real focus and drive that comes through then into whatever it is that you're doing. So it's very, very helpful. And I just wanted to do a video on this in case you feel like you're just floating along, not really progressing, because what'll happen, especially if you're a healer, if you're just kind of floating along like that, especially if you are not doing any partner practice with anybody else, like just say another practitioner who's a sensitive or even more advanced than you, which is quite lucky. But if you have someone who you can practice with, then you're going to get some really good feedback. It's really easy as a solo practitioner to fall into delusion about your level of ability. It really, really, really easy. Of course, it's very natural. You don't have anyone to kind of practice with. So you want to be really peaking your own practice and really focused and having those time goals, because that will help you raise your own quality of your training. So like I said, you're not just kind of progressing and kind of have a sluggish healing energy, which is really just your awareness, your mind being a bit sluggish. So let those timed goals be a part of your practice. You can even write them down. I would definitely be writing them down. You can write them down as I do in a notebook, or for my son, for his training, it's on the wall. And it's a little bit like taking progress pictures for when you're wanting to lose weight or gain muscle, things like that. So you get to see your progress along the way, and you've got your goals which have a time limit to them. I hope this has been helpful. Give this video a thumbs up, share, like, subscribe, and feel free to comment. Thank you so much for following the Sacred Gates. We appreciate you listening. Bye-bye for now.